disgusted. I'm absolutely disgusted with the performance of the Indiana Fever. Stephanie White got purely out-coached from beginning to end. After the first 60 seconds, after the first minute of this game, it was a wrap. It was a wrap. Like, let's just keep it real. Stephanie White did not have this team ready to play. Aaliyah Boston got up 7 shots. She's standing at the top of the key, acting like the joke. I don't understand what's going on. Let's see.
So yesterday, the Golden State Valkyries played the Indiana Fever and came out with the win. But I have to say, that was one of the longest games I've ever watched. Like, even the first half, I was having trouble staying awake just because of the delay. And I would think, too, with it being the Chase Center and NBA games run out of there as well, that they would have fixed the clock issue or checked the clocks before. But regardless, things happen. So the first half ended up being like an hour and a half long, which is crazy. And towards the end, there was like a minute left in the half. I swear there were so many foul calls at that point, and then there was a challenge, and as soon as the challenge happened, I was like, we already know how long challenges take with the WNBA, especially this year, so that's only going to add on more time.
After a humiliating loss plagued by bizarre technical failures, Indiana Fever coach Stephanie White stood before the media and did the one thing a leader should never do. She blamed her own players. This wasn't just a simple excuse for a bad game. It was a public betrayal that exposed a deep-rooted problem within the team, a coach who refuses to take responsibility. Now fans are demanding she be fired, and the locker room is reportedly fracturing. We're breaking down the moment Stephanie White threw her team under the bus and why the clock is now ticking on her career.
Game. I don't know if it, affected the readiness, at all. But yeah, I mean, it's disruptive. It's not something that you expect to see. But we often talk about controlling the things that we can control, and we couldn't control that. So staying warm, and staying engaged. And, I thought that, we did what we could to work through the issue, and kudos to everybody that had a hand in at least working it out. But then, we came out and we weren't ready those first, 5-6 minutes of the quarter.
What was that? Just everything about that. What was that? Like, it's been 3 hours since the game was supposed to start. The game was delayed basically an hour. What was that? Like, what was that? Like, the 63 points against the Valkyries team. Aaliyah Boston scored 4 points. She had 4 points. 4 points. Kelsey Mitchell, 4 of 14.
The game was a disaster before it even truly began. An hour-long delay caused by malfunctioning shot clocks turned a professional sporting event into something resembling a high school scrimmage. The energy in the arena fizzled out, and the rhythm of the players was completely shattered. When play finally resumed, the Indiana Fever looked lost, disjointed, and unprepared. Their star center, Aaliyah Boston, a player who should be the focal point of the offense, only managed to get up 7 shots the entire game. She was seen standing aimlessly at the top of the key, a visual metaphor for a team with immense talent but zero direction. They were getting smacked by a team they should have been able to compete with, and the final score of 75-63 wasn't even the most embarrassing part of the night. That honor was reserved for the post-game press conference.
Malfunction. I'm gonna be real, WNBA. That was nasty work. It was like an hour delay. This is nasty. Y'all got to get it together. Kathy Engelberg, the refs are trash. You can't even get shot clocks that work. What is going on? Y'all take so many unnecessary shots at the fans, and I've had enough of it. Y'all need to start looking in the mirror at what you guys control in this league. It's ridiculous. Aren't ready. Isn't it your job? Now, players have to play, yes, but isn't it your job as a coach to be reiterating to the players, hey, let's go, guys. We need to come out with energy. I know there's been a delay. Let's be on our keys. We know the game plan. Let's come out with some energy. Let's hit them in the mouth first to come out of this break.
Have you ever met somebody? Do you know anybody? Are you friends with somebody who just seems to always lie, even when they have no need to lie? They just lie so often that they don't even know that they're lying anymore. Well, that seems to be the situation we have with one Stephanie White. She lied to get out of Connecticut, lied her way to Indiana, lied how she's going to utilize Caitlin Clark, lied about the vets that she's bringing in, lie after lie after lie after lie.
The real drama didn't unfold under the bright lights of the court. It happened in the quiet of the press room. When asked about the team's flat start after the long delay, Stephanie White had the perfect opportunity to take responsibility, to say she should have had her team better prepared for the adversity. Instead, she chose a different path. She told the world, "We came out and we weren't ready those first 5-6 minutes of the quarter." In that single sentence, the narrative shifted. This was no longer about a team having an off night. This was about a coach publicly pointing the finger at her players. She used the clock issue not as a reason for her own failure to adapt, but as an excuse for her team's lack of focus, effectively washing her hands of any responsibility. But what fans didn't realize was that this wasn't an isolated incident. It was part of a disturbing pattern.
God, a game like this will make you question everything about this Indiana Fever team. Hell, about the WNBA. I mean, boy, that was some professionalism at the beginning of this game with all these shot clock problems. I mean, what are we doing here? Elementary schools don't have this kind of problem. I mean, what are we... I swear, this was one of the hardest games I ever had to sit through, and that's considering the Golden State Valkyries, they're pretty entertaining, frankly.
Fever win streak ends at 2, dropped to 8th in WNBA standings. Indiana Fever swept in the season series as they lose to the Golden State Valkyries 75-63. Taking a look at the current standings as a result of this loss, the Fever now officially drop a half game behind both the Valkyries and the Storm and into 8th playoff spot in the WNBA standings. There really are no positives to speak of as a result of this loss. All 5 Fever starters had a negative player impact stat against them. If you want to call out something positive from this game, Ariel Powers was the leading scorer for the Fever with 17 points off of the bench.
For those who have followed her career, this moment felt disturbingly familiar. Stephanie White has cultivated a reputation for deflecting blame and creating narratives that always paint her as the victim of circumstances. Whispers have followed her for years, going back to her controversial departure from the Connecticut Sun, where many felt she had lied her way out. Since arriving in Indiana, she's been accused of overpromising and underdelivering. From how she'd utilize superstar Caitlin Clark to the role of the veterans she brought in. It's become a predictable pattern when the team wins. It's because of her brilliant strategy, but when they lose, it's always someone else's fault. The players didn't execute, the refs made bad calls, or in this case, a faulty clock threw them off their game. It's the oldest trick in the book for a leader trying to save their own skin, and fans were starting to see right through it.
Hase outcoaches Stephanie White yet again as the Golden State Valkyries sweep the Indiana Fever this season. They beat us with Caitlin Clark. They beat us without Caitlin Clark. We have the superior talent. They have the inferior team. We have a coach that stands there with her arms crossed. They have a coach that gets in the thick of things and crazy coaches. When you have a more talented roster, yet you lose to a inferior team, that is coaching 101.
In the world of professional sports, there are unwritten rules of leadership, and Stephanie White just broke the most important one. Coaching 101 dictates that a true leader acts as a shield for their team. When the cameras are on and the questions get tough, great coaches say, "This one's on me. I have to do a better job." They absorb the public criticism to protect the morale and confidence of the players in their locker room. Any issues with player performance are handled behind closed doors with respect and directness. By publicly blaming her team's readiness, White did the exact opposite. She threw her players into the fire to save herself. This wasn't just a tactical error, it was a profound failure of leadership that violates the sacred trust between a coach and their team. She showed everyone that when the pressure is on, she will not have their back, and the consequences of that betrayal can be devastating.
We have one side, Nyland Akase, who gets the most out of her players, who gets the best out of her players, who draws up plays to get players in a position to win, puts them in a position to succeed. And then we have Stephanie White, who stands on the sidelines with her arms crossed and her head in the clouds. The Indiana Fever got punked tonight. 75-63. This game was close for the first 65 seconds. 65 seconds, we had ourselves a ball game.
Imagine you're LA Boston. You just played a frustrating game where the offensive scheme clearly failed to get you involved, and you walk off the court only to hear your coach tell the world you weren't ready to play. Or you're Kelsey Mitchell, who struggled with her shot, and now your lack of execution is the national headline, courtesy of your own coach. This is how a locker room is lost. It doesn't happen overnight, but with each public scapegoating, the foundation of trust crumbles. Players start to question if their coach truly believes in them. Resentment begins to build, whispered conversations turn into open doubt, and soon, the team stops playing for the person in charge. The damage from a comment like that can linger for an entire season, creating a toxic environment where players are more worried about being blamed than they are about winning.
I'm so furious with this Indiana Fever performance, this bonehead Stephanie White. Man, this game was an atrocity, a flat-out embarrassment. Listen, the Indiana Fever got absolutely smacked by the Golden State Valkyries 75-63. They brought the brooms out on us. They swept up the floor with us. Wait, Brett, you know how embarrassing it is to lose to one team every single time you play them in a season?
As you'd expect, the fan backlash was immediate and brutal. Social media platforms erupted in a firestorm of outrage. It turned into a digital roast session, with fans creating memes of Stephanie White standing with her arms crossed while the team fell apart. The hashtag #FireStephanieWhite began to trend as podcasts and fan accounts clipped her press conference and tore it apart piece by piece. One fan joked that her playbook only had 2 pages. Page 1, blame the players. Page 2, repeat step 1. The anger wasn't just about a single loss. It was the culmination of mounting frustration over a coach who seemed perpetually out of her depth and unwilling to own her mistakes. The fans who pour their time, money, and passion into the team had reached their breaking point. They weren't just calling for answers, they were calling for her job.
They're thinking, we gonna win. The Golden State Valkyries played last night. We got Leah Boston playing 2 games in a row where she got over 20. She's focused. Odyssey Simpson's balling. She's focused. We got Kelsey. She's focused. I'm over here thinking we ready for war. Straight up. No, we wasn't. No, we wasn't. The entire first quarter, Golden State had uncontested threes. They missed 1 3, if I'm not mistaken, in the first quarter. And they shot like 8 or 9 of them. Hold on. You know what? Wait a minute. Let me get this.
To be fair, some might play devil's advocate. They'll argue that at the end of the day, players do have to execute. A coach can draw up the perfect play. But if a player misses an open shot, that's not on the coach. And yes, a bizarre hour-long delay is disruptive and can affect a team's mental state. But that argument completely misses the point. The head coach's job isn't just to draw X's and O's, it's to be the leader in moments of chaos. It's their responsibility to manage adversity, to rally the team when momentum is lost, and to make the tactical adjustments necessary to overcome unexpected hurdles. Great coaches thrive in those situations. They see chaos as an opportunity. Stephanie White saw it as an excuse. Her failure wasn't that the team came out flat, it was that she did nothing to fix it and then blamed them for it afterward. And so the story comes full circle. The game started with a broken clock, a symbol of dysfunction and chaos. But now a different kind of clock is ticking, and it's counting down the seconds on Stephanie White's tenure in Indiana. Her pattern of deflecting blame, her failure to lead in a moment of crisis, and her willingness to sacrifice her players to save face have all been laid bare. She has lost the trust of the fans, and it's hard to imagine she still has the unwavering respect of her locker room. If excuses were banners, her office would be full. But in the WNBA, they only hang banners for championships, which are won with talent, strategy, and most importantly, accountability. The front office now faces a critical decision. How many more excuses can they tolerate before realizing the problem isn't just a broken clock on the wall, but a broken culture on the sideline? Because if things don't change, and fast, the countdown to her inevitable goodbye is about to hit 0.